all up to come follow this man, and now all of a sudden this man is dead, and it's like everything that I've done for the past 3 years is null and void. I mean, have you ever been there? You ever just felt like everything that I've done, everything, all the effort that I've put forth, and it just seems null and void, like it doesn't matter anymore. And then Jesus comes back, and he appears before him, and he's like, man, I don't even know what's going on anymore. What is happening? Now it's like just a roller coaster. I mean, I know we've been there, a roller coaster of emotions before. Anybody? Like we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down, we're up, we're down. Like I don't know what's happening, God. I'm just here for the ride, but I'm kind of tired of the ride. I'm worn out. But sometimes I also don't believe that we give these disciples enough credit. Sometimes we forget, exactly how inexperienced they actually were. I mean, these guys were fishermen. That this rabbi comes and says, hey, man, come follow me, and you can become fishermen of men. And the next thing you know, they're walking around with this guy named Jesus, and he claims to be the Messiah, and he's doing all these miracles and these amazing things, and he teaches like nobody's ever heard before. And there's just something different about him that just doesn't add up. But these guys, I mean, these aren't scholars. These guys aren't, they haven't been to school for all this. They probably memorized some of the Torah, but, I mean, these aren't Pharisees. His exact words in John 14:9, it says, have I been with you for all this time? And at this point, he'd been with them almost 2.5 years. And yet still, don't you know me? You still don't know who I am after all this time you've been walking around with me, and still you don't understand what I've been trying to tell you this whole time. Jesus says, I am God. And everything that I am telling you is true, and it's going to come to pass. And they're trying their best to believe that God, the creator of the universe, is standing beside them and has been following and walking around with them for 3 years. But come on, man, it is a little tough. It's a little hard for us I'm a fisherman, man. Come on. For me to wrap my head around this. That what you're calling me to do is to become a fisherman of men. Like, what is this? But Jesus, he actually hadn't been with them long enough for them to truly understand. After such a short time to learn and even less time to prepare, the unimaginable thing had happened. Jesus is crucified. And this struggling little church that he had established, it looked like it was doomed and it was exhausted, and it seemed like their fire was about to burn out. And this is where we begin our message today. John 20, 1 through 19 is where we're going to be at. But we're going to read this a little bit at a time. Did I say 20? 21, 1 through 19. But we're going to start with John 21, 1 through 3 here first. It says, later Jesus appeared again to the disciples beside the Sea of Galilee. This is how it happened. Several of the disciples were there. Simon Peter, Thomas, nicknamed the twin, Nathanael from Canaan in Galilee, the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other disciples. Simon Peter said, I'm going fishing. We'll come too, they all said. So they went out in the boat, but they caught nothing all night. So after all this has happened, Jesus has died, he's come back, and Peter is undergoing a readjustment period. He's been on this roller coaster long enough that he's to the point to where he's just like, man, I've really kind of had it, man. And he says, I'm going fishing. Worn out, beaten up. He feels like I've just been doing a lot of stuff here lately. I've been sticking my neck out for you here. I've been doing all these things, and I'm just tired. And I know that we've all been there before. I've been there. I'm there today. worn out. It seems like sometimes we've been doing all the work, and then there's others that have been kind of sitting on the sidelines. Like we keep hearing Peter's name being brought up here. Like it even says, and 2 other disciples. Like 2 other guys are there that they didn't even mind mentioning. And Peter's just like, man, I'm sick of being the one, you know? I'm tired of being the one that it seems like everybody's having to call on all the time. Like Jesus, even you yourself, you said, upon you, this rock, you trying to set me up as the leader. Like, I'm just tired of doing this, man. It's just a roller coaster, and I'm worn out. He says, I'm going fishing. The other disciples said, we're going with you. They caught nothing all night. This is not part of my sermon, but I am going to throw this in there. When you are put into a leadership role, and instead of doing what God's promised you and told you to do, His will in your life, He's laid out a path before you, and you know what that path is, but then you decide you're not going to take that path, and you decide you're going fishing. And what happened? All of the disciples followed Him. He stepped off the path that Jesus had lined up for him. He had put him there as leadership, and he said, I'm done, I'm tired, I'm wore out, and I'm going fishing. And the rest of them jumped in there behind him. I'm just going to be straight and honest. If you are leadership, if you are set as a leadership role, and when I'm talking to parents, I'm talking to mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers, right on down the line as into leadership into the church, leadership at your work. If you stop going to work and you keep saying, I'm going fishing, the other people are going to follow you too. If you step out of the path that God's laid before you today, at your house, you step out of the role of father and you stay going fishing, the people underneath you are going to suffer. God's given you a designed leadership role, and He's called you to this position. He's called you into this. And look, it's okay to go fishing sometimes, but this is about a mind frame. He's worn out, he's tired, and he's leaving the position that God has placed before him. Peter, he's lost his vision. He's forgotten about all of these things that he's seen of Jesus, these miracles. Like, this is a man who walked with Jesus for 3 years. He saw him feed 5,000 and then 4,000 with a Jewish Happy Meal. He's seen the healed, the blind healed, the lame healed. He saw a couple of people be raised from the dead. And in seeing all of this stuff, still, somehow he's ended up back here fishing. Going back to what he knows best. When the tough times came and the struggles began, Peter, he leaned back into what he knew best. Peter turned back to his old ways. How many of us have been here before? When the going gets tough, when the hard times show up, it's real easy to be a Christian and do a Christian walk when you're up here. And I don't mean just spirit, like I don't just mean like, hey, because you got money in your account, or because, I mean spiritually up here too. Like, there's a spiritual roller coaster in life. Like, there's going to be times when you have to, it's just like in marriage, man. Look, there's a time about 1.5 years to 2-3 years where it's just like we're still in this honeymoon period, man, and it's like everything's good. And then around 3 to 4 to 5 years into it, starts getting tough. Sometimes I have to wake up in the morning and say, I'm married to her and I have to love her. And I know she does that every day for the past 11 years. Sometimes you just don't get to go fishing, man. You just got to make it work. It's hard sometimes. And he's gotten into these hard times, and he's like, man, I'm out. I'm out. Can't do it anymore. I'm done. It's easy to follow Jesus in the good times, when the money's flowing, when your family's all good and they're healthy, and your spouse and you, and you're happy. But when the hard times come, when you can't fight that addiction anymore, that's a big one. Getting out of addiction, man, sometimes it's easy in the beginning. I don't mean easy, but like the hard times come about, a month or so into it, and you realize, like, man, I've lost 6 years of my life to this addiction. And then you have to be faced with that. You have to see that. That's when it really gets hard. When a loved one passes away, man, we've lost 2 good men in this church in a week. One of them sat right over here, the other one back here on the back. 2 funerals. The first 2 members of Breakthrough Church to pass away, and it happened within a week apart. When your health is deteriorating, when you get that scary message in the doctor's office, when it seems like your perfect little world is beginning to unravel a little, what are you going to do then? Where do you turn to then? For a lot of us, you turn back to what you know best. You begin to lean into your own understanding. You totally forget about God. And you fall back into what I like to call complacency for a Christian. To what you know best. This is where Peter is. And that's why this sermon does hit home with me, because it's been about 6 years ago. 5 to 6 years ago. I was here, man. I was worn out. I was tired. I was in a marriage that the hard part was starting to come in. I had 2 children and another one on the way, and I'm already like, man, I can't afford the 2 that I've got. What am I going to do with another one? So then I just went ahead and had 4 later. I wanted out of my marriage. I wanted away from God. And I left my wife. And I went back to the life that I knew before. I went back to a world that I was comfortable in, Like this was hard now, man. Here I am, a new Christian, or at least I thought I was. I'm trying to walk, this new walk, and it's like I was in a roller coaster, man. My mind was here, but I knew it needed to be here. My thoughts were here, and I knew they needed to be here. And I'm somewhere in between, is trying to follow God and follow in my own understanding. And what am I doing? And I just got wore out. It was hard. And I went back to what I knew best. My old lifestyle. I'll finish that up in just a minute, my testimony, but we're going to move forward. Please remind me to finish my testimony. Don't want to leave you there. Man, this guy's preaching now. John 21, 4 through 6. It says, at dawn, Jesus was standing on the beach, but his disciples could see who he was. He called out, fellas, couldn't see who he was, I'm sorry. And he called out, fellas, have you caught any fish? No, they replied. Then he said, throw your nets on the right side of the boat, and you'll catch some. So they did, and they couldn't haul in the net because there were so many fish in it. Have any of y'all ever experienced like deja vu? I know that's probably not something you should be up here preaching about, but it's because, I don't know, I think there's like some weird witchcraft or something that they say goes along with it. But I'm talking about the sense of it, like where you feel like something has happened before. Like I've been here before. I've been in this situation before. I've experienced this before. Well, I think that's where Peter and them are right now. Peter, he has deja vu. Because if you'll actually look back, just 3 years prior to this, he was in a very similar position. A lowly fisherman on the Sea of Galilee, right where they're at again, fishing, the Sea of Galilee. When a man called out to them off the shore one day, and he says, literally the exact same thing that is happening right here. And he calls them to be fishermen of men. This is Luke 5, 4 through 11, and I'll read this quick. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon Peter, "Now go out where it is deeper. Let your nets down and catch some fish." "Master," Simon Peter replied, "we worked hard all last night and didn't catch a thing. But if you say so, I'll let the nets down again." And this time their nets were so full of fish they began to tear. A shout for help brought their partners to the boat, and soon both boats were filled and fish on the verge of sinking the boat. When Simon Peter realized what had happened, he fell to his knees before Jesus and said, "Oh Lord, please leave me. I'm such a sinful man." For he was awestruck by the number of fish that they had caught, as were the others with him. His partners, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, were also amazed. Jesus replied to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on, you'll be fishing for people." And as soon as they landed, they left everything and followed Jesus. I do want to look at one quick thing. He fell to his knees before Jesus and said, "Oh Lord, please leave me. I'm such a sinful man." When he was in his old lifestyle, when he was living in his old lifestyle and he met Jesus, he immediately recognized how he was living as being wrong. He saw this. "Leave me. I'm a sinful man. You don't need to be around me. I am not worthy to even be before you." And he bows down before him and he says, "I'm too sinful to even be in your presence." He acknowledges then that his lifestyle is not correct. And all of a sudden, Peter is right back where he started, out fishing again in this old lifestyle. And he's brought all his buddies with him. Right back in the same place where he met Jesus prior to that. And he's about to realize this. John 21, 7 through 14, it says, Then the disciple Jesus loved said to Peter," that's John, "It's the Lord." When Simon Peter heard this, he put on his tunic, for he had stripped for work, jumped into the water and headed to the shore. The others stayed on the boat and pulled the loaded net to the shore, for they were only about 100 yards from the shore. When they got there, they found breakfast waiting for them, fish cooking over a charcoal fire and some bread. Just real quick, I'll just throw this in there. Some more fish and bread. Anybody remember the times when fish and bread has shown up? It's him saying, "I'm here to feed the multitudes again." Just a quick reminder here. It says, "Bring some fish you've caught," Jesus said. So Simon Peter went aboard and dragged the nets to the shore. There were 153 large fish. "Now come, have some breakfast," Jesus said. None of the disciples dared to ask him, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. Then Jesus served them the bread and the fish. This was the third time that Jesus had appeared to his disciples since he had been raised from the dead. Peter's so excited to see that this is Jesus that he jumps from the boat before it even makes it to shore. And isn't it amazing that even after all of these disciples had went back to what that they had known best, Jesus was still standing here on this shore waiting for them? I know that there has to be times, sometimes I feel like, when Jesus just gets frustrated with me. It's like, all of these things that I've shown you, this is the third time that he's revealed himself to them after he had died. That means they saw him die on the cross. He rose from the dead. They've seen him 3 different times now since then. And it's like, guys, when are you going to get it? When are you going to understand? When are you going to stop this flip-flopping back and two? And here he is once again. These guys have gone back to what they knew best, back into the lifestyle once again that they know. And there's Jesus waiting on the shore for them once again, calling them in to feed them once again. After a joyous little reunion here over breakfast, Peter has a conversation with Jesus, and I consider this the crucial turning point in his apostolic ministry, or the apostolic ministry, but in his spiritual life and his ministry particularly. And this is also where my testimony is going to pick back up. This conversation changed Peter from a lowly fisherman to a true apostle. This is the turning point in Peter's life. This is that hammered in moment that he looks back to and he remembers. This is John 21, 15 through 17. After breakfast, Jesus asked Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," Peter replied. "You know I love you." "Then feed my lambs," Jesus told him. Jesus repeated the question, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Lord," Peter said. "You know I love you." "Then take care of my sheep," Jesus said. A third time he asked him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt that Jesus had asked this question a third time, and he said, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." And Jesus said, "Then feed my sheep." Jesus says, "Peter, do you love me more than you love all of this? Do you love me more than you love these people around you?" Peter says, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Then feed my lambs." He continues looking into Peter's eyes and he says again, "Peter, do you love me?" I'm sure that Peter is confused, but he answers a second time. He says, "Yes, Lord, I love you. Then take care of my sheep." For a third time, "Peter, do you love me?" And I think around this third time, Peter starts feeling a little uncomfortable. And I'm sure that he is reminded of a memory from just a few days earlier when he was asked another question 3 different times. And we talked about this just a minute ago. And he answered just as emphatically, "I don't know this man." But somehow Peter once again replies for a third time, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." And then Jesus tells him, "Feed my sheep." This may not make a lot of sense to some of y'all, but to me it is very clear. Because I was here. I was in the middle of a divorce with my wife. I was at my mother's house. I'd moved away. We were around 2 to 3 weeks before we were going to be finalizing a divorce. And God had an encounter with me. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. I was awake because I couldn't sleep. And in a sense, God said to me, "Do you love me more than all of this? Do you love me more than all of these things that you're going through, than all these things that you're fixing to step into? Do you love me more than this lifestyle that you're wanting to step back into? Do you love me more than all of this?" I believe this is what Jesus was actually saying to them, and this is what he said to me. "Peter, if you love me, why are you here? Why are we back on this same shore, by these same nets, by these same boats, at the same ocean, having this same conversation? Wasn't it obvious then, and isn't it obvious right now, that if I want fish, I can produce fish? You went fishing all night and you caught nothing. I showed up on the shoreline, and 5 minutes after I got here, I told you where to put that. And I can get the fish if I want the fish, Peter. What I need today are disciples. What I need in this life are disciples. I need men that are going to go out and share my gospel, that are going to go out and share the love of Christ with others. I need someone to feed my sheep and to save my lambs. I need someone to preach my gospel, someone to defend my faith. I need someone who loves me, who truly, truly loves me, and loves what God has commissioned them to do. Our message is not hopeless. It's not hapless. It's not just a word in a book. It is the word of the Almighty God. And our message is to change the world. Now, people, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to myself today. So, Peter, for the second and hopefully the last time, I'm asking you to leave this old lifestyle behind. I'm asking you to leave these things. I know you're worn out. I know there's a lot going on in your life today. But I want you to learn from this, to lean into me, not back into you. I'm trying to get this across to you today. Do you love me more than all of this? Do you love what I am and who I am going to be? You've seen everything that we've gone through. You've seen all the things that I can do. I am here for you. I am your creator. I am the creator of the universe. I am your Lord, your God. Do you understand that? Now, when the times get rough, when you are worn out, when things are going rough, don't lean back into who you were. Lean into who I am. I need you to go and to teach and to testify in my name. If I want fish, I will get fish. I need you. I don't need all the things that the schooling or the whatever it is. What I need is you. I need commitment. I need loyalty. Do you love me? Praise team, come on back up. If I step on your toes, it's not me, it's God. God did not save you so that on a Sunday you can sit in a pew. God did not send his son to die on a cross that whosoever believeth in him may sit in a pew for the rest of their life and wait on the day when they die so they can go to heaven. That is not what the gospel says. And to be honest with you, if you feel that way or think that way, I would look very closely today as to whether or not you are actually saved or not. If you think this is a joke, something that like, I understand there's a lot of people that are wore out. There's a lot of things going on. But I didn't lead you here so that we could end up back on this Sea of Galilee. I didn't send my son to die for you, to take your sins upon him so that you could have this pie life. And if that's where you are, if it's very simple to you like that, like, man, I get my little Christian fix on a Sunday, sometimes on a Wednesday, and now I'm good. It's just, I came and I went to the altar again and I asked for forgiveness of all my sins again, and until I sin again, look. Is the word Christian in your life today, does it define you? Or is it an adjective, just one of those things that you just kind of add on? Yeah, like I work here, I do this. Also, I'm a Christian. Is it a lifestyle that defines you today? Is it who you are? We as the church, I believe sometimes that we have fallen back into complacency. And when I say we as the church, I'm not talking about you individually. I'm talking about the body of Christ, the believers across America especially. We've forgotten about the message of Christ and we've fallen back into what we know. We've begun to lean into our own understanding. One of the best ways to know whether or not you're leaning into your own understanding is look around and see if your life is affecting people around you. If no one's ever came to you and said, what is it about you that is different than me? I need to know how you're going through absolute hell today, but somehow you remain in a peaceful stance. I need to know who it is that you pray to. I need to know what it is about you because I want that in my life. Do you represent Christ today? And when I say represent, I mean you carry His identity with you. You are married to Him and you carry His name today. And you share and you show that with the world, not just through your voice. I can sit here all day and scream, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, I'm a Christian, but if my lifestyle isn't reflective of that, who am I ever going to lead to Christ? We as the church, we've got to stand up. We want to know why is it that we live in the world that we live in today? Why is it that things just seems like they just get worse and they're worse and they're worse? And it's because not just people saying, man, I see so many people post some really good Christian saying on Facebook. And it's like, man, that's cool, that's good, that's nice. And then you look on their timeline a week later and they're standing there with a beer with their buddies. And look, I'm not going to stand up here and say whether or not drinking is right or wrong or whatever, but we're not getting into that. But it's a lifestyle thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, does the life you lead represent what you say you believe? I've been there. I have been there. I sometimes feel like worn out. Worn out is a state that I stay in. I'm still learning every day that I've got to lean into who He is. Not back into who I am. When you see anger rise up in me, when my family sees that, when the people around me and love, that means I'm leaning into Dusty. Not into who He is. Who He says I am. I'm not sure how the final judgment is going to go exactly, but John does give us a little bit of a look into that. This is Revelation 20, 11 through 15. And I saw a great white throne, and the one sitting on it, the earth and the sky fled from His presence. But they found no place to hide. I saw the dead, both great and small. I saw the dead, both great and small. That's you, standing before God's throne. And the books were opened, including the book of life, and the dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. The sea gave up its dead, and the death and the grave gave up their dead. And all were judged according to their deeds. Then death and the grave were thrown into the lake of fire. This lake of fire is the second death. And anyone whose name was not found recorded in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Guys, this is not something that has happened yet. This is a coming judgment of everyone. When this world has passed away and one day we will stand before God Himself, every single one of us are going to find ourselves here and you will be judged. And I believe that at this moment, this same question is going to be asked of you again. Did you love me? Jesus said, if you love me, then keep my commandments. What was Jesus' one commandment that he gave us? He said, this sums it all up right here. Thou shalt love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. And secondly, love thy neighbor as yourself. So church, we have neighbors to bless. We have children to protect. The poor to lift up, the truth to defend, wrongs to make right, and good to do. We have a life of discipleship to live, not just speak it, to live it. It's not about showing up to church. It's not even about just bringing someone to church with you today. It's about showing them Christ in you today. By demonstrating our love to God through our love to everyone else in the world. We cannot quit. We can't go back to where we came from. After an encounter with the living God, Jesus Christ, nothing should ever be like it was before. Your life has to change today. There should be a point where you say, it was then that I understood. It was then that my life changed. Look, it doesn't all just get great and perfect, but there is a point in your life where you said, I understood it. I saw it. There was a moment when everything was different. And I can't go back to who I was. I've met my Creator, the Creator of the universe. And in doing so, it has changed me. When we were saved, it marked the beginning of your life. Not the end. It's not like the word Christian became an end game for us. Like, I've done it. I did it. I became a Christian. I got my ticket, and now I sit through a few services. We show up to a few church things, and that's it. No, He's called you to a life of discipleship, a life of leadership today. Take it and run with it. Don't take it so flippantly in your life today. Don't use Jesus as just a way to step over everybody else and say, I did it, I got it. You don't. I got Jesus, how about you? I got Jesus. No, you don't. I messed that up. If Jesus was standing here today, I believe He would look at His church and He would say these words, the same words that He said to Peter. When Peter had walked away, when Peter had went back to what he knew best. Do you love me? And I believe we would say yes. Yes, Lord, we do love you. Then feed my sheep. It says Jesus died for the sins of the world. That's every human being that's walking the face of the earth, that whosoever believes. He loved the entire world, everyone. He didn't just love you. Every person walking the face of the earth, before and after, He loved them enough to die for their sins. It's your responsibility to show them. It's your responsibility to share and to show that. If the world's going to hell in a handbasket, it's because we have failed. Not God. We have failed. Don't look back. The Bible also says you can't serve two masters. You can't hold on to that old lifestyle and try to live this one, because you'll end up letting go of one. Don't be like Peter. Here, anyways. Maybe the Peter in Acts. Guys, I know it sounded rough today. Y'all go ahead and stand up. I know it sounded rough. I know I sound like I've been yelling at y'all for the past 45 minutes, but this message was for me. I've been speaking to myself this whole time because I've been worn out. And I never turned back recently, back to any old lifestyle, but I've thought, man, it would sure be easier to not be here, to not be in a leadership role, to just be able to not show up to church today, to stay home today. Like, I was here until late last night trying to write a sermon, and I didn't want to be, man. There was a part of me, I was just like, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. I'm worn out. And this is the message that Jesus gave me. He says, do you love me? Then feed my sheep. That's not just my responsibility. I fed you. I gave you His word. It's for us to go out, man. We got to go out and we got to live this life. We've got to trust in Him, not into our own understanding. We've got to lean, and I mean not just lean, but run to Him. Leave that old lifestyle behind. It's not worth it. I promise you, it has temporary pleasures, but that's it. You're going to find yourself wanting again. He is the only one that's going to satisfy that itch. He's the only one that's going to fix those problems, not just temporarily, but permanently in your life today. And yes, it is a roller coaster. You're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs. Sometimes marriage sucks, it really does. But you made a vow, loyalty, that you are going to love that other person through the thick and the thin. That's why we say that for better or worse. Because there's a worse that will come, I promise you. We are married. We are the bride of Christ. And there are ups and downs. But I tell you what, He 100% always upholds His side of the bargain. Let's go ahead and finish up with this last song. It's very fitting too, by the way. It's called Here Again. How many times do we find ourselves here again at this same altar? Maybe you've decided today that I'm going fishing. Maybe there's someone watching online who is fishing, who's going through it, struggling. I beg you to come to this altar today, to hit this altar and to pray, man, just to seek God today. Or maybe there's someone that you know that might be fishing today, going back to that old lifestyle, man, leaning into something that they know they shouldn't be. Come to this altar and pray today. Can't go back to the beginning. Can't control what tomorrow will bring. But I know here in the middle is the place where you promised to be. Not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? As I walk now through the valley. And let your love rise above every fear, like the sun shaping the shadows. And in my weakness your glory appears. I'm not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? I'm going to give you one more opportunity to step forward here today. Maybe there's somebody out there who's just been going through it, man. You're worn out. I invite you to come to this altar right now. Because right now, I promise you this. I promise you this one thing, that He will meet you here again today. I do not want any of us to stand before God on that judgment day, for Him to open up that book, that Lamb's Book of Life, and to look in here and say, did you love me? Did you truly love me? Through the thick and the thin, through all the good and the bad and the ups and the downs, were you here? Were you loyal? Because I was loyal to you. I was there for you. When you broke the covenant, I stuck with you. When you sinned against me, I stayed with you. I will be there for you through thick and through thin. For the ups and downs, for whatever it is, I am here for you. That's what Jesus did for you. And He's going to look at us and say, did you love me? If you're unsure about that, I pray that you would come down to this altar today. If you're unsure of where you're at with Him today, come down to this altar. He will meet you here again. Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Not for a minute was I forsaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Come, Holy Spirit, dry bones awaken. The Lord is in this place. The Lord is in this place. Not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? Father, as I come to you today, Lord, I pray that when we stand before you on Judgment Day and you look at us and you say, did you love me? That each and every single person here in this place is able to look you straight in the eye and say, yes, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee. My life reflected it. I followed you through the thick and the thin, through the ups and downs. When the hard times came and I did begin to lean into my own understanding that, Father, you were there for me to pull me back. You were always there to lead me back onto your path. I do love you. I love you not because of what I've done for you, but because of what you have done for me. Because in those hard times, Father, you were always there, just like the husband is to the bride. Always there, pulling us back up. You held tight and you continue to hold tight to your end of this marriage. Father, I just pray that each and every single one of us would see this, would see that that old life of ours is not where we need to be. It's not where you have called us to. That leaning into our own understanding is not where we need to be. And it will always lead to disaster and being more and more worn out. That, Father, we lean into you. We lean into you, and that's where we're going to find a peace that surpasses all understanding. I pray that for each and every single person here today and watching online. Lord, I pray that someone this week would be able to see us as the church, the body of Christ, and want to know what it is that we have that they do not. I pray, Father, that you would send someone to each person here to be able to share and to show the love of the gospel in their life today. Be with us, Father, as we go back into this world. I ask all these things in your name and your name alone. And the church said, amen.